Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Assalamualaikum, everyone. We are back here to continue on the case of unstable TAWARUQ. This is the continuation from where we left earlier, where earlier we saw the instability of the TAWARUQ deposit when the CPO MSA price is found to be higher than the CPO MPA price. So in the sense that we no longer assume the two prices to be equivalent. We don't look at a case where the CPO MSA price is fixed upfront to be equivalent to the CPO MPA price at $1,000. Now let us see what will happen if we let the CPO price to follow the market forces. And this case will be a case where there is a fall in prices compared to what we see earlier, where there is a rise in prices of the CPO. But to recap, what we did earlier is to look at the deposit placement of $100,000 on the 20th of November at 3% annual profit yield, and the tenure is 6 months or 181 days. And based on this term, we have computed the sale price to be the sum of the placement, deposit placement plus profit margin, and that will be $100,000 plus $1,487. That will be 101,487.67. So that will be the amount of deposits and profit to be redeemed at maturity 6 months after. So the bank have this obligation to settle this withdrawal at maturity, and that is why we say that there is some resemblance of the FD TAWARUQ with the interest-bearing TAWARUQ, because the effect of giving guaranteed placement and profit from the TAWARUQ is very similar to the effect of the interest-bearing FD that offer the same manfaah or benefit, which is deposit guarantee plus fixed profit. And we can see that the stable TAWARUQ was able to be secured because of the fixation of the CPO price for MSA at $1,000 per ton, equivalent to the CPO price for MPA at $1,000 per ton, and irrespective of when the two agreement was conducted. So here we can say that we assume to get a stable TAWARUQ, either if there is a perfect kind of matching, it has to be like an instantaneously buy and sell, MPA at 10 a.m., MSA at 1 minute after 10 a.m. So that is a possibility to get the CPO MSA price to be at $1,000 per ton. Otherwise, if there is a gap, time gap between MPA and MSA, there's a likelihood that there is a volatility, as what we see, that every day that the price of the NPO will go up and down, depending on the demand and supply of the commodity. So when we look at the assumption where there is a possible price decline, for example, here we can see that October 22, from October 7th October to the 9th October 1922, we can see that there is a decline in the CPO prices, right? And again, we can see there's a decline in the CPO prices from 12th October to 13th October. So that is all, there's a possible decline in the CPO prices, and therefore we would like to just take one of this assumption of price change, and we see what will happen to the stability of the TAWARUQ deposit when the price of the CPO has fallen down. And this, we assume that the CPO price now on the 21st of November, which is a day after the NPA, So we take a 24-hour gap between MPA, MSA. So let us say that the CPO price has gone down from from 1,000 per ton to $800 per ton. There is a $200 drop in the CPO prices, and what we can see happening here is that when we conduct the MSA, where the bank, who is now the owner of the CPO, will be able to sell the CPO to vendor 2 to obtain the cash proceed from the vendor 2 as the deposit placement. Alright, so we can see here that CPO price 21st of November is $800 per ton. So we will look at what is the sale price, what is the cash settlement at $800 per ton. So that will be 800 ringgit or dollar multiplied by 100 ton. So the amount of CPO traded in the MPA MSA is fixed, right? It's fixed. That we agree, but the price of the CPO, is a variable. It will go up and down. And in the case when the price has gone down to $800 per ton, the cash proceed from the MSA is 80,000 ringgit or $80,000. So what it means is that the bank will now receive the payment from vendor 2 amounting to $80,000 instead of $100,000 as agreed upon earlier in the deposit placement agreement, that the depositor make a placement of 100, but because of this assumption of price decline, then the sale price of the MSA is not at 100,000 for the case of stable TAWARUQ, but the bank is able to only secure $80,000 as deposit placement. So the bank should be receiving 100,000 as a deposit fund placement, but it can only get 80,000 from the vendor 2. The vendor 2 will not pay more than 80,000 because the price of the CPO is 800. It is not at $1,000 per ton, and because of the lower price, the cash payment is only at 80,000. Depositor have agreed to place 100,000, but the bank is only receiving 80,000. So who's going to make up for the deficit of 20,000? Is it the bank or is it the vendor 2? So this is where we can see the mismatches of the objective of the contracting party, the depositor who have agreed earlier with the bank to place 100,000 at 3% for 6 months, but yet, and it has been agreed that at maturity the depositor will withdraw the placement plus the profit at 101,487.67, but in reality what has happened is that the bank is not able to secure the deposit placement as agreed upon, and what the bank has today is an amount that is lower than 100,000. So there's a deficit of $20,000. The question here, who is going to to fill up the gap? The profit from the placement of 14087.67 is based on the $100,000 placement, but now the bank is only getting 80,000. So 80,000 multiplied by 3% multiplied by the number of days. So the profit to be awarded to the depositor should be less than 1,487.67. So this kind of irregular settlement will make the TAWARUQ unviable, not viable, and it will be full of mashups, and so this kind of instability and irregular movement of the so-called settlement will not make the TAWARUQ to be a viable product to mirror or to compete with FD, interest-bearing deposit, that will automatically give depositor guaranteed deposit recovery plus profit. So the TAWARUQ will have to go through the long and winding road to find its destination, which will finally will not be realized if they were to follow the true message of al-bay'. Al-bay' is sale, and sale must be based on market prices. There shouldn't be any kind of coercion to fix prices to ensure that the benefit of riba can be realized, as what we see in the interest-bearing FD. Islamic banks are competing for funding in order to operate their business. Their business is based on leverage fund. They are using leverage funding in order to make financing, and if these funds are not gotten based on the condition that was first agreed in the deposit placement agreement, then this TAWARUQ will no longer be viable, and people may want to go, and put their money elsewhere. So this instability of TAWARUQ may lead many people to go and put their money in the fixed deposit, interest bearing. So non-Muslim will find the TAWARUQ to be unstable, and even though they believe that the Islamic bank may be an ethical bank, but yet when it comes to providing the benefit of deposit placement, they found that the TAWARUQ FD is an inferior product relative to the interest-bearing FD, because the interest-bearing FD is a straightforward deposit placement, whereas the TAWARUQ seems to have some hiccup here and there, and this is the challenge, in providing an alternative to interest-bearing fixed deposit, which serve as an investment with a secured profit. So interest-bearing deposit is all gain and no pain, and for the Islamic bank to offer the same FD TAWARUQ, no pain and all gain, they have to, however, conduct this kind of arrangement where there is some kind of coercion among the vendors and the bank and the depositors to basically agree on a single price, so that the objective of this party will be met once these prices are made equivalent. So there's a lot more to talk about TAWARUQ. We have TAWARUQ in deposit. We have TAWARUQ in financing. TAWARUQ in financing, we got home financing TAWARUQ. We got personal financing TAWARUQ. We have business financing TAWARUQ. And we have sukuk based on TAWARUQ. So this kind of irregular and unstable condition to be faced by the TAWARUQ system is not a good sign to secure some kind of sustainable provision of Sharia compliant services to the masses. And we do hope that the Sharia advisor as well as the regulator are able to come up with a better model, to secure the public or the masses a really convincing Sharia compliant deposit that will be fair and just to everybody. Okay guys, thank you for your time. I see you again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.